Hello and welcome to Every Day is Saturday. I'm your host, Paul Gebhardt, with my special guest today, Brad Gatto of Fiat Wealth Management. Welcome, Brad.
Thank you. Good to be here.
From the beautiful pine trees, I think, of Minnesota, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm in the Twin Cities, so we do have pine trees, but you got to get a little further north before you start getting into those big red pines.
Ah, okay. Beautiful countryside up there. I've gotten to do some fishing when I was a kid.
Little cold.
Yeah.
A little cold.
Has it not warmed up yet up there?
We got teased for a little bit.
Oh, no. No, really? So it's kind of funny. It's exactly opposite here, right? It's kind of weird. I understand, you got a couple of young boys at home, right?
I do.
What are their ages?
Liam, or William, his full name is William. He's 11, and he's in 5th grade, and I've got Hudson, who actually turns 8 years old in a couple of days, and he's in 2nd grade.
Yeah. So they have, like, their sports or anything they picked out yet, Dad? Or were they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to find that balance of not being the overbearing dad, pushing my kid into sports and letting them choose. Mm-hmm. But we're in the throes of baseball right now. We're a baseball family, which quite frankly just doesn't fit in Minnesota.
Sure.
If you know anything about Minnesota, it's a hockey state.
Yes.
I grew up in Iowa. I couldn't spell hockey. I couldn't have told you what the blue line meant when I moved there 20 years ago. So I've grown to at least appreciate hockey. But we're a baseball family.
Yeah, me too. I played baseball all the way through college, so yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was blessed to be a catcher. It was fun times in my life, for sure.
I could really use a catcher on my team if you want to come out of retirement.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't think you want this kind of catcher. You'd have to wheel me out there, if you know what I'm saying, Brad. So I don't think that would go good. I got to ask you, man, because, you're such an intriguing blend of a person, a human being. I mean that sincerely. You got this comedy side to you, which I think is incredible, because I think retirement should be a little fun.
Sure.
You should be able to. It needs to be fun. If it ain't, you need to make some changes.
That's exactly right. Well, hence the name of the show, right? It can't be Saturday if you're not having fun.
That's exactly right. But I wanted to ask you a little bit about the choice to become a financial advisor.
Sure.
What motivated you to choose that path?
Nothing is the surprising answer. I don't think I chose it, quite frankly. I think I tripped or fell into it. I don't know exactly how you want to.
Okay. Yeah.
So I went to a private Christian college. I got a degree in youth ministry, which, if you're unfamiliar, is just kind of a mutt major. You get like a minor in Bible.
Yeah.
You get a minor in theology and a minor in adolescent development, which was very interesting. And I got out. I was a youth pastor for about 18 months. I was in between churches, leaving the church that I was at, trying to find a new church, and really experienced failure. I got to the last interview with this church. I was super excited. I was dead convinced in my head, Paul, I was going to be the youth minister of this church. The other guy got the job. And so I was out back on the streets looking for income. I'm a young guy. My wife and I have been I got the opportunity to marry my high school sweetheart.
Ah, that's cool.
And so we got married right out of college. The August after we graduated, we got married after 5 years of dating. She actually went to the University of Iowa, so we did this whole long distance thing which worked really well, because it forced a guy like me to have to communicate and talk. Right. Which we're
is
typically
important.
not good at.
Yeah, so, man, yeah.
This is pre iPhone days and stuff like that. So we had to, be courted in a room to talk on the phone. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so I didn't get the job, but I needed to go out and find income. And so I put my resume online, and Paul, in 48, 72 hours, I don't know the exact time frame, I got 14 interview requests, and every single one of them was from a financial institution. And the first, I don't know how many, 10 of them, I basically just didn't return their calls, wasn't interested, didn't take the interview. And then by the 14th one, I figured maybe somebody was trying to tell me something.
There is a divine
I'm a little
direction.
dense. I'm a little dense. Awesome. So by the 14th one, we figured that out. And then, so I took the call, and the guy just caught my interest, because I asked him, I was like, I'm not a financial advisor.
Yeah.
I didn't go to school for finance. I didn't go for economics. I didn't go for kind of the things you would think would lead somebody into this path. Yeah. And his response got me. He said, you know what, Brad, in this industry, you need two things. You need people skills, and you need the financial background. One of those two things I can teach, and the other one I cannot. And your resume is all people skills. I just want to talk to you. Okay. he got my attention. I'm a really competitive person. I walked in there. They told me the stats of how many young financial advisors out of college actually make it. And so my competitive juices got flowing, and that was kind of it. In fact, I remember, I think I went through 5 interviews with this company. The day they offered me the job, I called my wife, and I was all excited because I didn't, feel like a failure anymore. I was actually going to start bringing in some income. At least,
honey, I'm winning. I'm winning, honey.
Yeah, at least that's what I thought.
Right.
I thought I was going to start making money right away. That wasn't true. But I called her, and I was like, hey, I got the job.
Yep.
I'm going to be a financial advisor. And she goes, that's awesome. So what do you do exactly? And I'm like, I have no idea. So I kind of fell into it.
That's awesome. Tell me how important it is in your life to have the support of your wife.
Well, it means everything.
Yeah.
I've known my wife longer than I've not known her in my life.
Yeah.
She's been a big part of my life since I was, like I said, in high school,
yeah.
and starting to make the decisions of where to go to school and all these sorts of things. And so my wife and I, it was a big leap of faith, not just for me getting into this industry,
right.
But obviously for my wife as well. And we've had our struggles. When you get into an industry and you're trying to build a business, it's not easy. It doesn't matter what industry you're in trying to build a business. Small business owners will appreciate this. Right, that's a ton of work.
Yes,
and so I kind of drug her through the mud more than once.
Yeah.
But she's a rock star. She's not only has she put up with me for on the cusp of 16 years of marriage now and over 20 years together in total, but she's a neonatal intensive care nurse.
Oh wow.
At the Children's Hospital in Minneapolis, and she's been there since she got out of school. So I think she's got about 16 years in there.
Love it, love it.
And saving babies' lives every day.
I love my nurses. Nurses are fantastic. Those guys are unbelievable what they do. And I had to make sure I bring up the ladies in our lives because the ladies are so important.
Yeah.
I don't know if I shared. I'm a mama's boy. Bottom line, and I'll get into that somewhat later. But from my mother to my wife and now my daughter, I'm a blessed man.
Yeah.
To have such wonderful support in my life.
Yeah.
And I know you feel the same.
I absolutely do, yeah.
So I got to ask you, how important is it for people to have an advisor that gets to know them? How important is that?
It's far more important than the numbers. Yeah. I think. I think our industry does a lot of things backwards. And some of that probably has to do with the fact that I'm just contrarian. When people go left, I just want to go right because it's my personality.
This is who I am.
So some of it's probably that, if I'm just being honest. But I do think that at the end of the day, people don't save a pile of money to have a pile of money.
Yeah.
That's not the purpose.
You're
they
right.
save it for outcomes.
Yes.
And so if I don't know what outcomes the client wants, and I start talking about rate of return or products or mutual funds or ETFs or stocks, that doesn't make any sense.
No, you lose them.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because I don't know who they are as a person.
That's right.
And so you can call it reverse engineering, but really it's the way it should have been engineered from the very beginning, is spending tons of time getting to know them up front so that we can take that knowledge and point them to kind of their true north and what they want.
One of my favorite sayings, people don't care what you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And I believe that. I understand you got a wonderful offer for the guest today. Would you let the viewers know what you're sharing?
Yeah, absolutely. We love education. In fact, it's my favorite thing with my past. I thought I was going to be in the education world with youth for the rest of my career, and here I am still in education, different topic, different age group. But the offer is we've set aside a handful of times over the next couple of weeks for the viewers to take advantage of a complimentary visit where we can begin that education process. And as Paul alluded to, it's important for us to get to know you. And so that first visit is just that. It's an opportunity for us to get to know you, you to get to know us, nothing more, nothing less. But we can start talking about things like, is my plan on track relative to spending? I'm not a saver anymore. I'm trying to figure out how to stay in retirement. Are my taxes on sale right now? Should I be doing anything different from a distribution strategy? There's a lot that we can go over, but ultimately that first visit is just an opportunity to get acquainted.
Fantastic stuff. Listen, all you got to do is pick up the phone, reach out and call. Brad and his team are there to help. 844-726-9116. We got to take a short break. We'll be right back after these messages. Stay with us.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to Every Day is Saturday. I'm your host, Paul Gebhard, with my guest, Brad Gatto of Fiat Wealth Management. I got to say, that's like the easiest show I've ever had to say. Every day is Saturday. It just feels good coming off the tongue, I got to tell you. You and I have a lot in common. I've been in the insurance industry on the P&C side for 25 years. My motivation came directly from my mother. My mother introduced me to Jesus Christ. And she introduced me to the fact that what really matters in life is caring for people.
Yeah.
That's it. That's really what it comes down to.
Yep.
I got out of school. I wanted to learn everything I could about money because we were poor.
Yeah.
And when my mom died, we went broke. So I started in investments and helped people accumulate, which wasn't bad. It was fun. But there was something missing. And I knew what it was because my mother always said you got to take care of people. And taking care of people is protecting them. And that's how I ended up in insurance. So they say, okay, Paul, you're doing this show. Why are you doing this show? Why do you want to do this? Because I want to help folks. It's about helping people. That's what all this is.
Yeah.
And what I find interesting about you is you have the exact same feel and calling. I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell that it's a burning fire in you to make a difference in people's lives. And now you've built Fiat Wealth Management. Tell me a little bit of what that was like since you chose this path to build something so wonderful.
Yeah, well, and language matters, right? Mm-hmm. I still don't think I chose it, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of chosen for me, but...
if you're like me, I got to interrupt you on that one. Every time I choose it, it's difficult as heck. When I don't, it goes real smooth. I don't know what that is.
Funny how that works, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I thought I was going to be helping people in a different capacity,
Sure.
and quite frankly, when I started down this road, I didn't look at it that way. To me, it was a job up front. That's how it started because I just knew I needed to make an income to support my family. But it definitely turned into that. I realized pretty darn quickly, wait a minute, I have an opportunity to engage with people on probably, at least in America, one of the most private areas of their lives and have a meaningful impact for them. And so right away, I pushed hard against, and again, maybe this is the contrarian stuff in me, but chasing rate of return and trying to find the best mutual fund on the planet. Part of it is because it's impossible because I can't predict tomorrow, and I don't like to be wrong. And so I'm not going to throw myself out there with the the opportunity of being wrong. You can ask my wife. But I realized really quickly that the power of money in people's lives. Like anything in life, you can't have good without bad.
No.
Right? And you can't have really good without really bad.
Right.
And money is one of those pendulums that can swing really far one way and really far the other way. And like you, I grew up with nothing. Single mom, 3 kids, parents divorced when I was pretty young. Now, it's not a sob story. I don't look at it that way. I had a wonderful childhood. I didn't have anything, but I didn't know that. And although I lived with my mom the majority of the time, and she raised us, I have a wonderful relationship with my father today. He's my best friend. And so it's all come full circle, but at the core of that, we didn't have anything. And so my view of money was security, right? Because any time that we could actually put food on the table or stay in the house that we were living in because the rent was affordable or whatever it may be, is kind of how money impacted me. And so pretty early in this career, after I got over the fact that it was just a paycheck and trying to find my path in it, I realized really quickly I wanted to help put meaning behind the pile of money and help people sit down and ask them the hard questions. You know, what do you want to do with it?
Yes.
And I have a passion for helping people have fun.
Yeah, I could tell that.
I have a passion for helping people develop ways and strategies of giving money away, whether that's to their family members, to kids. I've been doing this long enough, Paul. I used to always talk to my clients about their kids and giving money to their kids. I realized that's a mistake because it's really the grandkids they care about. I think if most parents could just skip their kids and go straight to the grandkids, they would.
Yes.
Or to charity. Yeah. But at the end of the day, Paul, they've done study after study after study after study, white paper after white paper.
Yeah.
And every study's come back with the exact same thing, and they all say, you can't take it with you. So if you can't take it with you, how do we highest and best use of every dollar you have for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to sit on it and not do anything with it out of fear.
Yeah.
And so literally my favorite part of my job is when I can put some parameters. You know the old saying, there's no true freedom without boundaries?
Right.
So structuring those boundaries, so you get the client as an example that walks through the door that says, hey, I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave money to my kids. This is kind of what I want. And one of the things I like to ask them is, well, why are we waiting until you die to do that? Well, because I'm fearful if I give it away now, I'm going to run out, so on and so forth. And so if we can structure things in a way that we can get rid of that fear, then they get to give it away while they're alive. And let's be honest.
That's powerful.
That's way more fun.
Absolutely. It's powerful. You're talking about the living legacy now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you get to experience it with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Those places you go, those things you do with the people you love. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. So over the last 15 years, that's what we've tried to hone in on, is how do we help people put definition to their financial life and create meaning with the resources that they do have, whatever those resources are.
Yeah. What do you say to somebody who says, I got an advisor, why do I need a second opinion?
It's a fairly important part of your life, right? And like anything important, even something far less important, like I got a big plumbing issue at my house. I might have 2 plumbers come and look at it. Yeah. To something more serious like your health. If you got a serious health diagnosis from a doctor, kind of out of left field, and they told you had cancer or something like that, you probably would get a second opinion.
Yeah.
And your money's the same thing, where you only get one shot at this thing, right, called retirement. And so why not get a second opinion if it's out there to be had?
Absolutely.
Is the first thing that I would say. But the second piece of that, to go back to the kind of the doctor analogy, is some doctors are general practitioners. That doesn't make them good, doesn't make them bad, it's just what they are.
Yes.
Right? And so those are the doctors you go to every year for your physical, and, when you're healthy, these are just kind of the checkups. Yeah. Right? And then you've got your specialists that come in and they really hone in on one specific thing, whether it's, a cancer doctor, an ENT doc, or a surgeon, some sort of special type of surgeon. And that's kind of what we are. At Fiat, Paul, what we focus in on is teaching people how to spend their money. Right? A lot of advisors are really good at helping you grow your pile of money, which is awesome and commendable and all of the things.
Yeah, can we talk a little bit about that when we come back, the spending side of it?
Absolutely.
We got to take a break. But Brad's team got a wonderful offer for you to do a review, your 401k, your IRA, your retirement plan, whatever you're currently doing, just to make sure you're on track. There's a few complimentary spots available. Just pick up the phone and call them. 844-726-9116. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back after these messages.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go? And who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back to Every Day is Saturday. I'm your host, Paul Gebhardt, with my guest here, Brad Gatto. I feel like every day's payday with all the information I'm getting right now. But this is great stuff, Brad, I got to say. You mentioned before we took a break a little something about spending, and I'm kind of drawn to that for a bit because, think about it.
Yeah.
Everybody talks to us in planning about accumulation, right? And the preservation, right? The saving, all these aspects of it, right? We talk about. But, spending is not a topic we really get into a lot.
Yeah.
But you have strategies. You work with your clients on the spending process. Could you share with us what that's like?
Well, I'm glad you're attracted to it because it's the more fun thing to do.
Yeah. I know my wife is attracted to it. So, love you, babe. Love you.
I like to make jokes about that with my wife, too. But if I'm just being very truthful, I'm the spender.
Oh.
I love to spend money, and I love to teach other people how to do it too. Of course, within reason. But it's just funny because our industry is, again, we do a lot of wonderful, wonderful things. But we focus so much on this idea of growing and saving and rate of return and all these other sorts of things. But the only reason we saved the money in the first place, Paul, is so that eventually down the road it could be spent, should we need it to be spent or want it to be spent.
You know what's crazy about that? I just got to interject here, if you'll let me for a minute. How do we, somewhere along the way, kind of forget that, though? Why do we become so paranoid, that
I'm gonna go back to my major that has nothing to do, except it kind of does, with, I told you, kind of a major, but one of those minors essentially is adolescent development. And you study human behavior, you study habits, you study things like that, and kind of what makes people tick. And if we're just being honest, do we really change that much from junior high? So it's a behavior thing, I think, for most people. We joke all the time at the office that in our office, instead of having chairs for our clients to sit at, we should have like a Chase lounge, because there's a lot of kind of counseling that goes on. But when you develop a behavior that lasts for any significant amount of time, it's hard to break. And the people that we meet with have the behavior of living below their means. They've been savers their entire life, which is why they have a pile of money. Whatever that
incredible point is the behavior we learned.
And think about it. So take it personal, Paul. Like if you take money and you're wise enough to take it out of your checking account and you put it in your savings account,
right?
There is like this pain threshold to take it back out, which is why it's good to put it in there in the first place. A lot of people would argue, and they're right, right? But then this pain threshold to take it back out makes it such that you won't or are less likely to spend it. And so if you think about somebody doing that for decades,
right,
30 years, 40 years, where they've put this money away, and the market's volatile at times and it goes up and down, but if you snap a chalk line, that pile of money has just grown and grown and grown and grown and grown. And so now the day they retire, it's probably the biggest it's ever been. And the fear of ever seeing it go backwards is real.
Yes.
Because there's so many unknowns.
Right.
I don't know how I'm going to live. I don't know what the markets are going to do. I don't know what my health issues are going to be. I don't know if my house is going to hold up. I don't know all these things. And because I don't know, what does everybody do in moments of fear? nothing. They clam up, and so ultimately they live lives in retirement, which is not what they would have dreamed of 5 years ago or 10 years ago, where instead of having fun and enjoying the fruit of their labor, they do nothing. And they sit on the pile of money out of fear.
So you work with the clients. They get to that point in retirement. To clarify on spending, right? They come in and you help them kind of get to the other side to enjoy the fruits of their labor, right?
Yeah, I'll give you a prime example, Paul. We had a guy walk in our office that we met through a public education workshop that we do, because again, just love the education side of this business. And he, if my memory serves, I think he was in his early 70s. Wonderful guy. Him and his wife are just wonderful, wonderful people. And they've had an advisor for 40-something years. In fact, I think if I remember right, it was his brother. And we were getting to know him, asking all the kinds of questions, and he had a very significant pile of money and lived a very frugal lifestyle. And in the line of questioning, it came out that I'm a big history buff. I love history. I don't know why I like it as much as I do, but I have like this affinity to World War II. Now, for the life of me, could not do what those soldiers did. But I just love studying it. And that came up in conversation somehow. I don't remember exactly how we got there. But it came up, and it came out that he has family that were on Normandy, that were there on D-Day. And one of his goals in life is to go. He wants to see it. And so I asked the question, well, why haven't you gone yet? And he's like, it's the whole money thing and all this sort of stuff. And so as he's talking, I'm kind of scribbling a few numbers on my piece of paper. And I said, do you mind if I interject and ask you another question? And he said, sure, what's that? And I said, did you know that if you took your pile of money out of the markets and we just put it in cash or put it in a Folgers can and buried it in your backyard, and you went to that Folgers can every month and pulled out the same amount that you're pulling now, and you never earned a rate of return, that your money would last 200 years? Wow, 200 years. I need to introduce you to a travel agent. You need to go
enjoy that. Absolutely. That's what a great story that is. What a great way to end. Listen, there's a few spots left to meet with this guy, Brad. Let him share your stories. Let him get to know you and your family. The meeting's complimentary. All you got to do is make the call. 844-726-9116. What do you want your tomorrow to look like? Find out today. Take care of yourselves, everybody.